Hello everyone and welcome to your NARSA weekly update for the week commencing Monday the 23rd of January 2023, but this one is actually being recorded on Tuesday the 24th of January 2023 because we had a wee bit of a mishap last night. I went to pick Leo up from school. As I'm getting there, he messages me saying we might want to go get my finger checked out. And I'm wondering what he's talking about because he hurt his finger playing basketball the week before. And I said, is it that finger? And he says, no, it's not. And he bashed his finger on a chair in school. And after just about 6 hours, I guess it was, in the Children's Hospital emergency room with a whole bunch of other sick kids, we found out that he has a small fracture in his right pinky. And we got home round about midnight last night. So my grand plans of picking him up from school, coming back, getting the pod recorded and doing everything else that we planned to do last night got completely tossed in the air with a hospital visit. I'm very, very fortunate. He's coming up for 14 now, and we've only been to the Children's Hospital. That's the second time. First time he was probably about 1. So can't kind of complain, but that did put a real wrench in things for last night. So my apologies for anybody that was expecting it to be out last night or even to have it available at some point during the day today. But needs must, family first and all that. And the good thing is he's on the mend. Had him off school today just to kind of get used to the splint that he has on it, and he's expected to make a full recovery within a few weeks. So yeah, drama. I don't like that type of drama, to be dead honest. But anyway, it's Gary here again, and I do have to say, back to Rangers, of course, which is what you're here to listen to. And I have to say, I'm really liking this winning momentum that Michael Beale has us on now. What's that? 8 wins and 1 draw in the 9 games that he has. And it's amazing how easy you can develop a habit, or how easy you can get out, or how easy it is to get out of a habit as well. And under Giovanni Van Bronckhorst, come on Gary, I'd very quickly got used to this roller coaster ride that he had us on, because he wasn't even with us for an entire year, and you just really truly never knew what Rangers team would show up at any given game. And especially domestically, you know, in Europe, especially last season in Europe, I should say, qualify that part, that domestically it was a roller coaster. And I think it was, for me, you kind of forgave it a wee bit because he had just arrived, you know, in the November time, and we were just at the spot where the European campaign was really starting to take hold, and then you're kind of like, well, is the squad strong enough to sustain a mounted challenge on the domestic front and the European front? And the answer was no. We could do it on the European front, but not the domestic front. And then this season, kind of expected normal service to resume and have some dominance in Scotland, but that just had not materialised, and of course that's why he was replaced. But anyway, back to the habit forming very, very quickly. Michael has us back in that winning mode. We show up expecting to win games regardless of what happens at the beginning of a game. Obviously we go behind quite a lot these days, and I'm rather much more preferring where we're at right now, and fully back in the fold of having that expectation every single time that we are playing, and hopefully that continues between now and the end of the season. Of course, the big news for this week, which would have been good to talk about yesterday, was that we did actually make a signing, and we confirmed the signing of Todd Cantwell from Norwich City. And the article on the Rangers website, there was actually a bunch of articles. The club did very well to cover the signing over their various media channels, and it says Rangers are today delighted to welcome Todd Cantwell as a hugely exciting first addition to the Michael Beale era at the club. First edition, that's the main part I took from that. The 24-year-old, who can play in a variety of midfield and attacking positions, joins the Light Blues from Norwich City on a long-term deal. Interesting, they never mentioned how long the term is for that. A product of the Norwich City Academy, Cantwell made 129 appearances for the Canaries, including 2 seasons in the Premier League. Indeed, he has experience of competing for honours, having twice won the championship at Norwich in 2019 and 2021, and he had a spell on loan at AFC Bournemouth in the second half of last season as they too won promotion to the English top flight. So quite the resume the guy's got for 24 years old already, and it wasn't a very well kept secret by Michael Beale. It didn't seem to be, because he's very chatty and he doesn't mind talking about things that are going on, and he kind of let the rumour mills just go into overdrive with his flat out refusal to refuse to say anything, if you know what I mean. But looking at the buzz around Cantwell, and and what he's already saying, I'm here to win. You can expect everything from me. I haven't played in front of a home crowd like this before. I've only played, in front of crowds like that on away games, and and he's played and scored against some of the bigger teams in the Premiership as well while he was there as well. So this doesn't seem like a gamble on an unknown, or someone coming to the end of his career, or any other circumstance that would dictate that they're coming to Rangers. This is a kid who's a couple of years ago was tipped for the top, and then whatever happened. I actually heard on a podcast yesterday that he had a real tough time when it was the pandemic and the lockdown and things like that, and things just went a wee bit awry for him at Norwich, during that time. So I don't know if there was a fallout with the club or a fallout with the manager, or whatever happened there. But we're very fortunate to get him. He seems to be saying all the right things, and seems to fit the mould of the type and style of player that Michael Beale wants to bring in and shape his squad around as well. So attacking midfielder is what I'm taking from that, and hopefully we get a chance to see him on Saturday at Ibrox, and he can make his debut and get going. That's the plan anyway. So, on to the game segment. 2 games this past week in 2 different competitions, just to keep things a wee bit interesting for us. Starting with Wednesday night's league game at Rugby Park, where we, can I say, ran out 3-2 winners in a game that just kind of showed a bit of the best and the worst of Rangers, or maybe that's in the opposite order, the worst and the best of Rangers in the 90 odd minutes that we played. I can only assume that based on how Rangers started, that the entire team, the club probably, I guess you could say, got the kick-off time wrong and thought that it started about 10 minutes after it actually did start, because we were, that was shocking how far off of it we were in the opening stages. That was back to Van Bronckhorst at Parkhead twice shocking, or the first Ajax game shocking, and we went behind from another set piece howler. It would be kind of nice if we figured out how not to do that, wouldn't it? Our defence is playing well. It's great to have Connor Goldson back, and him and Davies are doing very well together, but we're still losing these bizarro junk goals. And it felt to me like we could have been 2 or 3 behind in that spell, to be quite honest. It was just a complete, absolute non-starter. But ironically, it seemed to be that the goal did wake us up from our lateness or our slumber, and we got going to drag ourselves back into the game. And with 2 goals from Alfredo Morelos and 1 from Ryan Kent, had us on easy street. But easy street isn't really where we like to live, is it? Oh my God, Rangers. And Kelly then get reduced to 10 men when that clown Daniel Armstrong, who I thought actually had a decent game up to then, received a second yellow, and that was around about the hour mark, wasn't it? Maybe just before the hour mark, I can't remember exactly. And quite honestly, the yellow could have been a red. I'll talk about that in the referee watch. And at that point, it was 2-1. We go 3-1 up around 10 to 15 minutes later, and that should be that, shouldn't it? Nope, not for Rangers. We just can't put them away with that elusive 4th goal, just to kind of make the last 10 or 15 minutes a bit of a snooze fest, and we conspire to give ourselves a very nervy finish again by losing a goal with about 5 minutes to go, and another stupid one. And then we've got John McLaughlin at the end, just having brain fart after brain fart, and he's passing it out, like he did at Parkhead, passing it straight to their players and stuff like that. Just this panic that we have. So the beginning of the game was garbage, the end of the game was needlessly garbage, but we hung on and we got the win, and I think we deserved the win. And someone was saying actually that's only the second time they've been beat on their own ground at Rugby Park, and the other team that beat them were Livingston as well. So a team that plays on a plastic pitch beat a team who plays on a plastic pitch, so we are the first grass pitch team to beat them there. So there's something to be said for that as well. The positives was the result, definitely the result, and how we played in spells, kind of like for that middle 65, 70 minutes-ish. Great to see Alfredo Morelos getting back on the goals trail, and Ryan Kent seems to be in a wee bit of a goal-scoring run of form now too, doesn't he? Which is something I think everyone can agree. In fact, actually, I think he even said that in his post-match interview, that has been lacking from his game thus far in his career. So I thought we absolutely dominated possession. I think it was around about 80% or so, something like that. And I think we were indeed worthy winners. Negatives, the ridiculous start was they're just getting utterly baffling for me, and it does seem to be becoming a bit of a theme for Michael Beale's teams right now. He even spoke about it, on the post-match press conferences and stuff like that as well, where he's saying that we don't tell them to do that. It just seems to happen, and you just kind of need to roll with the punches as the game develops. But obviously they're not meaning to start slow, but I wonder what they learn from their game prep, when they're going through the actual planning and preparation for the game, because it can be a surprise that teams, especially at home, so Kilmarnock, for this example, would come out the traps flying, and would have a real good go at us, so I'd love us to have that habit of accommodating for that, or going on the front foot straight away and really just showing them that's not going to work this time, boys. Yeah, I'm sure the management team are focusing on doing just that. On the referee watch, Kevin Clancy, you know what? He actually did okay in this one. The second yellow for Armstrong really could have been a straight red, as I mentioned earlier, but he chose the yellow, which meant it was a red anyway. So maybe that's that was the way it was supposed to end up. But other than that, I don't actually recall too much that he did was annoying, other than the obligatory yellow card for Alfredo Morelos. Clancy just can't seem to help himself when it comes to Alfie, as far as I can tell. So because of that, I'm going to give him a 6 out of 10. For any regular listeners, you'll know that I've been kind of going around the 7s for this last wee while, but I just don't like Clancy at all, actually, so he gets a 6. Leave Alfie alone, for goodness sake. The second game was Saturday's 1-0 victory at McDermott Park, against St Johnstone in the 4th round of the Scottish Cup, and what was, I have to say, man, oh man, that was a very, very tough watch. I think Michael Beale summed it up afterwards when he was talking about, our third away game actually in 6 games on, and then what was it he actually said, on 2 potato fields or something like that. It's a third away game in 6 days on 2 potato fields. The team are tired, like something like that. So he just doesn't hold back. What a refreshing breath of fresh air he really is. I don't know if I should say refreshing and breath of fresh air in the same sentence, but I did anyway. So there you go. And the team did genuinely look tired, and it wasn't a great game at all. But I think we'll just simply remember this one for Borna Barisic's brilliant finish just before half time. Other than that, a bit of a snooze fest for me, quite honestly. I think Borna's goal was actually maybe even our first shot on target, and that was around about 45 minutes. But it was a brilliant move, actually, with some deft feet again by Malik Tillman, releasing Fashion Sakala, who does what he does best. Boy, man, he just runs in and gets a great shot. I thought that one of the angles, it looked like the goalie got a touch. Not 100% sure if he did or not, but if he did, it would be a great save then, because he put it off the post, and then it came out to Borna, who just slammed it home. No hesitation, no extra touch, no anything like that. Bang in the back of the net. And the St Johnstone goalie made a couple of great saves, especially in the second half. Well, I guess obviously in the second half, if we only had one shot in the first half. And both teams did have shots. It kind of cleared off the line too. So if you're watching the highlights of the game, the 5-minute segment of highlights, you'd have been quite entertained. But spread over the 90-odd minutes, it was a rough watch, as I say. Thankfully, on our side here over in Calgary, the pub was open, and we had a very healthy crowd of 11 people down there, so I got to entertain myself a wee bit with some Blue Nose company, which always makes the game a wee bit more palatable, especially when it's a grim watch. Positives from this one, the result and the great goal by Borna. Really, really good. And actually, I think I heard this morning, was it this morning, that's Borna's first ever goal from regular play, not from a set piece for us as well. So not sure if that's true either, but either way, good for him. It wasn't an easy match at all, and St Johnstone, as you know, have already beat us this season, so I don't think it can be understated quite how well we did to win the game, get a clean sheet in advance to the next round. The negatives, it just wasn't a visual spectacle at all, was it? And other than that, nothing else negative to say. We did what we had to do. Referee watch, Alan Muir, it was okay. I don't recall, again, anything extremely annoying from him, other than his booking for Connor Goldson at the end. And Connor's riled up because he gets blatantly fouled from the guy at the back, and it's a bit annoying, in the moment, and Connor gets up and just kind of remonstrates with the referee, and then he gets a yellow card. I don't know exactly what he said. If he was insulting, then I guess he deserves it, but because of that, not showing a wee bit of leniency for the blatancy of the foul, I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10, and he gets a 7 compared to Clancy's 6, as I just can't stand Clancy, as I said before. So what does that give us? We have a 5th round match to look forward to now, at home to Partick Thistle in the original Glasgow derby, and that game will be played on the weekend of February the 11th or the 12th or something like that. So what's that, 3 weeks away? And gives us something else to look forward to in the Cup. So hopefully, all that being well, we'll have a quarter-final tie to look forward to afterwards as well. Just the one game this week and against St Johnstone again, this time in the league. And that's on Saturday the 28th with a 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time kickoff, 3 p.m. UK. And last time, of course, was the victory on Saturday, but before that was the 2-1 defeat at McDermott Park in early November, which almost brought Giovanni van Bronckhorst's reign as Rangers manager to a close. We did have another couple of games after that, I believe, and we did enjoy a 4-0 victory at Ibrox back at the beginning of the season with goals from Tillman, Cholak, Arfield and Tom Lawrence. So same again at this time. RTV, didn't hear anything negative from an RTV perspective, so that's good news for us. For shout-outs for this week, I have a really poignant one that was sent in from a fellow by the name of Glenn Hamilton, who is down in Seattle. And he wrote, "My wife, Lindsay Bell, is a massive Rangers fan. We live in Seattle, originally from Glasgow, so she never gets to any of the games. She listens to all of the NARSA podcasts, and we attended a convention in Vegas last year. We, Lindsay, myself and our 3 girls, Grace, Isla and Olivia, are over in Glasgow at the moment, unfortunately for the funeral of Lindsay's mum, Irene Bell, who passed away whilst she was visiting us just before Christmas." Oh my word. So she's had a bit of a nightmare over the past 6 weeks. It's Lindsay's birthday on January 20th, and to try to help her forget all that's going on at the moment, I've got an Ibrox tour booked for us on January 23rd, which would be yesterday, and I've booked in at the Ibrox restaurant on January the 26th. Like I say, she's a massive Rangers fan. Oh dear, I'm so sorry to hear that. I know firsthand what it's like to lose a parent, but to lose it, or for it to happen when Irene was on holiday visiting her family, makes it all the more of an awful experience for everyone involved. So sad. I'm so sorry to hear that. And so on behalf of NARSA, I'd like to pass on my sincere condolences to Lindsay, her dad Alan, Lindsay's sister Gillian, and all of Irene's family and friends. And also on behalf of NARSA, I'd like to wish Lindsay a very, very happy belated birthday, and I hope you enjoyed it as best you could under the circumstances and managed to toast Irene at some point through the occasion as well. Thank you very, very much for sending that one in, Glenn. That was very kind of you to do that for Lindsay. On to the convention update for this week. I can confirm it's officially 141 days it is, and just under 20 weeks now until Toronto Midtown host the biggest bash of the Rangers year. Oh, it's coming up quick. We're in the teens next week. Just a reminder, hotel rooms and tickets are on sale, and with the cup final coming up, with some more cup activity coming up, with Michael Beale's signings starting to come through the door, I suspect we're going to see a real flurry of activity in the rooms and the tickets over the next wee while. Just a reminder that the event tickets for all 3 nights are 225 Canadian all in for all 3 nights. That's the welcome night, the Tam Plunkett Blue Night, and the Walter Smith Memorial Grand Banquet as well. I've had some inquiries over actually since the hotel rooms went on sale, where people phone in to get the NARSA room rate on pre and post nights and are told that there are no pre and post nights available. And every time someone comes to me, I look at the pickup report, which is the booking summary, and it says there are rooms available. So I'm just going to tell you, as of yesterday, I was doing this in preparation for recording this last night, of course, the hotel numbers on the 12th, 13th and 14th, which is the 3 days leading up, which is the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we have 10 rooms in the contract. None have been booked on the 12th. The 13th, 10 rooms in the contract, only 1 has been reserved. On the Wednesday, the 14th, we have 20 rooms in the contract and 9 have been reserved. So that's 10 rooms available on the Monday, 9 available on the Tuesday, and 11 available on the Wednesday. Then we have the 15th, 16th, 17th, which they're selling fairly well. And then on the Sunday, we have 60 rooms in the contract and 43 have been reserved, so 17 available. And then on the Monday, we have 10 rooms available and none reserved at all. That's all that's in the contract. So if you're trying to get something that's, say, Sunday to Sunday or something like that, if it's out with it, I think the system will kind of puke and not let you do it. But in terms of the contracts, we have 3 days before and 2 days after, and there is space. So if they tell you to call NARSA or contact NARSA, just refer to this conversation and say, I don't have to. Gary told me that there are rooms available. So please go ahead and get that organised. I hope that helps. A reminder that the Holiday and Flight Centre back home have their full packages for sale for folks who have expressed an interest in going with it with the full suite, and that gives you your flights to and from Toronto. It gives you your transfers in Toronto to the hotel, gives you your 3 event night packages as well. And what they have is a wee bit of a spicer for Blue Noses who are looking to book or who are still kind of on the fence for that. They have secured a signed by the Rangers squad first team home shirt for season 2022-23. And what they're going to do, if anyone has made their booking, this includes people who have booked already. If anyone is on the fence but they are now thinking about making their booking, if you do so between now and Valentine's Day, between now and February 24th, Rosie and team will put your name into a hat and draw it out, and there will be one lucky winner of a signed full squad jersey for this current season. That's pretty cool, isn't it? How do I not get anything like that? That's amazing. So well done to Rosie for getting that organised, and I'll put that in the blurb for the pod for this week as well, and we might do a wee bit of special communication out there about that as well. And just a reminder, nothing else on the VIP guests for this week. We're still trying to plug away on them and make sure that we have folks that will complement the guest that we already have confirmed right now, which is of course the legend that is Willie Henderson. So hopefully more to follow on that. It's not for the want of trying, and it just takes a wee bit of time. But a wee reminder that, I guess, what's that now? Oh, just under 2 weeks, just over a week and a half, I guess, the NARSA executive are going to be heading to the hotel. And we will be there from the weekend of the 3rd to the 5th. We are going to be doing a hotel walkthrough, which we've confirmed is going to be on the Sunday morning, and then we'll get a chance to meet the hotel, go through the contract, make sure that we have everything we have, and just get a general feel for the place and where things are going, so we can start to communicate a wee bit better. When you come in the doors, go here. When you go up the stairs, you'll be on your left, that kind of thing. And just it gives us a wee bit of an opportunity to be a wee bit more educated and learned on that as well. We are also hosting, I'm just going to kind of work back the way, so that's on Sunday the 5th in the morning, and that'll just be private between ourselves and the local club. And on the Saturday we will be watching the game in the Madison pub, which is the Toronto Central Rangers Supporters Club, and Jack Jackson and his crew over there. And immediately after that we have a room secured to have our NARSA general meeting as well, so Sandra will get the details out for that now. The reason that we've been a wee bit later getting the agenda and stuff out for NARSA members is we wanted to get the absolute latest financial report as well. So Alec Grant, our treasurer, waited until the December numbers came in, got it all packaged up. We have those now, so you'll get that information over the next wee while. And the Friday, so the Friday's kind of free now. And Friday is maybe when we'll try and organise a few beers and see who's around and have a bit of a night of it as well. So yeah, we're there 3rd to the 5th. If you feel like it, get in touch, please, at any time. Let us know who you are, where you're going to be, and then we can try and figure things out from there. One of the fellas, Ross McCartney, in our club had stayed there with his dad when he went out to see a Flames game a wee while back. Says the hotel is brilliant. It's in a superb location, so we're not going to be scratching for places to go or things to do as well. So that's great news on that one as well. On to the communications. You know what? There really is not a whole hell of a lot of stuff going on the communication front this past wee while. The only thing I thought, not really Rangers related, but I thought maybe semi-interesting to share, is that FIFA, that progressive, non-corrupt organisation that manages world football, have opened a disciplinary case against Argentina, against the world champions Argentina, for alleged offensive behaviour and by players and violations of fair play at the final in Qatar there last month. So they were talking about the Argentina goalkeeper Emiliano Martinez, who made that lewd gesture with his Golden Glove trophy as soon as he got awarded it. And then they're being claimed to have mockingly called for a moment of silence in the dressing room for French footballer Kylian Mbappe. I mean, this is just banter, fun sport stuff. I mean, Mbappe scores 4 goals in a World Cup final, still gets a loser's medal. It's just a bit of banter. Anyway, and then later at a parade in Buenos Aires, they displayed a doll with a picture of Mbappe attached, apparently, too. So FIFA said that Argentina had potentially breached rules regarding offensive behaviour and violations of the principles of fair play and misconduct of players and officials, because they're investigating the Argentine FA over breaching media and marketing regulations, which appear to relate to boisterous celebrations by players running through the interview zone, after the final as well. Come on. Like, come on. You're not allowed to even celebrate a victory now. You're not even allowed to add a wee bit of personality. Okay, the lewd gesture, wasn't a huge fan of that, but kind of funny at the time. But other than that, let the folks just have a wee bit of fun. There's nothing sinister going on there, FIFA, but that's just FIFA for you, isn't it? Anywho, that will do it for this week, my friends. As always, I can't thank you enough for taking the time to listen. Apologies again for it being so late in terms of being dropped, as they say in podcast land, or being published or broadcast. But please do share it with whomever you think might enjoy it. And until next week, here's to another victory over St Johnstone, and maybe, just maybe, another transfer or two coming in before the transfer window closes in a week's time. Until next week, take care, my friends. Thanks very much. Cheerio.